What's going on with the United States Women's Championship? Once upon a time, there was a time that everyone was asking me, Wheezy, do you think that we should have mid-card women's titles? When are we gonna get women's mid-card titles? The WWE United States Women's Championship and the Intercontinental Championship were introduced to help the women tell richer storylines, more storylines. How I felt from the very beginning was if you need a title championship in order to tell good stories, you're not a very good storyteller. Hi, if you're new to me, my name is Wheezy Blonde. I am a professional wrestling fan, streamer, content creator. I do focus mainly on WWE right now. I've been doing it for a few years. Here's a bunch of my socials. You can go follow me there, but let's talk about the subject at hand, the women's championships as a whole. Now, I didn't think that we would be getting two of them. But the last thing I wanted, the last thing anyone really should have wanted, was to have more women's titles, more mid-card titles on the shows, and then not have anything to really do with them, or have them and them not be utilized. That was my fear. It seemed at the time they were only able to focus on one or two stories at a time, and so the idea of introducing two more titles, that seemed a little crazy. When they did finally introduce the titles, I had a lot of hope because the women's division seemed to be going really well. We had really strong personalities. There were a lot of female wrestlers that were really getting over, and so I was like, you know what, this could be okay. As the story goes, 2024, the end of 2024, we were given the United States Women's Championship and the Intercontinental Women's Championship. They were basically copy and paste of the men's titles, except they had the white straps. The inaugural champions were Chelsea Green with the United States Championship and Lyra Valkyria with the Intercontinental Championship. Now, this seemed great. Chelsea Green, especially at the time, so over. I love Chelsea. Chelsea Green! Miss you, Samantha. We hadn't had a real good comedy act in the women's division, I feel like, in a long time. I was a really big fan of the Iconics. I love that kind of style, and Chelsea Green is just someone that I have been a fan of inside of the WWE and outside of it. It just seemed perfect. Okay, great. She's gonna have this title. She's going to elevate it. She's gonna make it feel important. She's gonna do all these goofy things with it that we haven't had someone do with a title in a long time. All of the bestest, prettiest, whatever is champion, the Canadian United States champion. It was great. And in Lyra was such a strong wrestler. People really liked her. It seemed like not only could she help elevate the title, but truly the title would help hopefully elevate her. The United States Championship was off on a great start. We had really great matches that followed with Chelsea Green and Michin, and then in came Zelina Vega. I'm a huge Zelina Vega fan. I felt like it was time for Zelina Vega to have a really good feud, a really good run. So if they were gonna take the title off Chelsea, it was like, all right, cool. But then the title wasn't getting defended very often. It wasn't even on the PLE between however many there were after the fact. Zelina Vega ends up capturing the championship after 100-something days. So Zelina Vega is the United States Women's Champion. Yay, great. I was like, cool. It's her time. Let's do it. And then the reign starts, and she's not talking to the crowd. She's not cutting promos in the ring. She's every week facing the Secret Hervis, and Chelsea Green is interfering, and it doesn't seem like there's any direction at all. Zelina Vega is phenomenal on the microphone. I adore her. She has such good character and charisma. It kind of felt like she wasn't the champion, and I hated that. Enter Julia. Julia, who came from NXT. Now, I didn't know a lot about Julia. You can think whatever you want about that. I get it. I knew that she was in Stardom. Everyone really hyped her up to me, but I didn't know her. I knew she was on NXT. She got elevated to the top in NXT very quickly along with Stephanie Vacquer, but I still wasn't invested in her because I don't know anything about her. So when all of a sudden Julia is now challenging Zelina Vega for the United States Championship when I don't really know much about her, it felt like, oh no. Oh no, Zelina is a fiery Puerto Rican woman from the Bronx, New York, and she was allowing Julia to bully her and talk to her and beat her in the ring. Zelina took loss after loss as the champion and did it beautifully, mind you. Like, she's a phenomenal wrestler, but it was becoming clear very quickly that Julia is going to be capturing the title. They finally let Zelina speak in a backstage promo one time, and I don't even want to look back specifically at the history because it irritates me, but with very little momentum, with very little that they did with her being champion, Zelina Vega didn't even seem to get over as a champion, and they took the title off of her and put it on Julia. Fast forward now, September 2025, Julia is the United States champion. She has a mouthpiece. The common denominator of all of these champions, all three of them, is that they had countless matches with Michin, who, what the fuck, why couldn't Michin be champion. Nothing was done after the title was taken off of Chelsea Green to make the title feel important, and now it has fallen by the wayside. Fear's becoming reality. And it shouldn't come as necessarily a surprise, because look at the women's tag team belts. Started off kind of strong. You know, they ended up having them on the Iconics, an actual tag team. Well, then they broke them up. They had them on Bayley and Sasha, and we know how that went. Naomi and Sasha, we know how that went. And then it just was in limbo forever, and now there is promise with Alexa and Charlotte, but even then, it's like they're not having a good feud with anybody. Why can we not have good feuds between women? All of this to say, 1, justice for Michin. 2, Liv Morgan fell over on the shelf. Sorry, Liv. 2, why were we unable to build a story, a real actual feud? We're just gonna talk crap to each other backstage, and then we're gonna throw them in the ring and, ooh, fighting for the title. The most frustrating part is that it can be done. On the flip side, the Women's Intercontinental Championship. It feels almost unfair to make the comparison because Lyra was able to have Bayley and Becky Lynch involved. Bayley's really underrated for sure. Becky, people talk so much shit about Becky with no real good merit. I don't understand. That was a great route to go. In Lyra's feud with Becky, Lyra looked like $1 million. There was a story there. I was invested in it. It made a lot of sense. And it's still ongoing. Now we have Becky holding the Intercontinental title. AJ Lee is involved. Lyra's still gunning for it. We have Bayley. Like, there's an entire story arc now built around the Intercontinental title, to the point where the Intercontinental title feels more important than every other women's title in the division. The Women's World Heavyweight title had to be taken away from Naomi, which baby Uso, which you can't help, whatever. But now we're waiting until WrestlePalooza, supposedly, to have the title put on somebody else. I understand that Julia is a great professional wrestler. I've seen her stuff, I've looked her up, I've tried to educate myself the best that I can. The thing is that, in my opinion, hasn't been translated to the WWE main roster audience as well as it should be. And I think they're throwing things at the wall and trying with her having a manager now, but even still, we're just going in a circle of her feuding with Michin. Give me some real fire. Give me some real good fire for that to be happening, and put the damn title on Michin. I don't know. I don't know what to do at this point. I don't think we should have to rely on veterans or people that have been there for a long time to elevate the title, but at this point, there just didn't seem to be a plan in place to make it happen. Chelsea Green seemed like the perfect person to hold it for a longer bit of time, elevate it, and have good feuds, but the feuds just weren't there. All of this proves the point. Titles do not tell good stories. Just because a title is involved does not mean that it's going to get that person over or that it's going to make the audience give a shit. And it's infuriating. Holy shit, it's infuriating as a fan of women's wrestling, because I love the entire women's roster. I want the best for the roster, but sometimes it almost feels like an afterthought. I'm not in the business of playing the blame game. I'm not a booker. I don't know. I'm just an observer. I'm just a viewer. These are my observations. But what would make people more invested in the United States Championship at this point? I got all the hype up of Julia. I understand she's a great professional wrestler, but are you invested in what is happening with that title? What is the best case scenario? What can revive it? I honestly would love to hear different people's ideas, because the only thing I can think of is bringing in someone else and really elevating it. I thought the answer to that was Stephanie Vaquer. I thought bringing in Stephanie with Julia would really make people care. Now it seems like she's going after the women's world title. Bring Chelsea back into the mix. Make Piper turn on Chelsea. The Secret Hervis is in shambles. I mean, I love the Secret Hervis, but that would be 10 times better. Are we gonna have to have Becky 2 belts 2.0? I don't know. I'm rambling at this point, but these are the thoughts of a scatterbrained ADHD blonde wrestling fan. Genuinely, let me know in the comments, did this make sense to you? Are you feeling me? Are you not? Did you have hope for the women's mid-card titles in the very beginning? Are you being let down? Am I full of shit? Is the US title run actually really good? Again, if you're new to me, I'm not normally a real analytical person. There are just a few things that I feel strongly about, and when those things happen, I want to talk about them. And this is me talking about them. And it's because I care about the women's division. I care about the women. I think they're being done dirty. What the hell? As always, guys, thank you for tuning in. Please make sure you subscribe. I'm trying to release videos every single week. I also have a new website, wheezyblonde.com. Go ahead and check that out. I have a shop that will be launching on there. You can watch my live streams directly on the website and follow all kinds of updates and whatever. All right, guys, don't crucify me. Don't crucify me, okay? I'm trying. I'll see you in the next one.